Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Idra and QXC, this time on Blistering Sands. You have QXC spawning as the red Terran player over here at the south side of the map. Meanwhile, you have Idra spawning as the blue Terran player on the north side of the map of Blistering Sands. Blistering Sands, one of those maps where there's only two starting locations, so you obviously know where your opponent is at the beginning of the game. On top of that, there are these backdoor rocks that I know a lot of Zerg players really try to utilize and really try to use. We'll see if Idra goes for an early expansion, trying to place down a fast hatchery, or if he will go for an early spawning pool with that metabolic boost. Both options will determine the outcome and the pace of this game. We do see a supply depot now being placed down by QXC, a pretty standard movement so far, as supply depot is required before barracks now after patch 1.1.2, and we already see QXC moving out with this SCV. Most likely this SCV moving out in order to deny any expansion attempt here on Blistering Sands. So QXC wants to make sure to get this SCV in this position as quickly as possible in order to deny any early fast expansion attempt and then try to change Idra's strategy. So Idra, on the other hand, still sitting here continuing to just make more and more drones, and now sending down two drones. So one drone most likely to do some scouting, and a second drone most likely there to do some, or no, both drones here just to try to put some pressure onto this one SCV. So you do see two drones now in play trying to go after this SCV here, and now two drones after one, and that SCV taking some damage, only taking 5 points of damage so far, down to 30 hit points now, and that will be blocked out in just a moment. So very nice micro coming in from both sides as this SCV trying to juke around, down to 20 hit points already, down to 15, and this SCV most likely will get taken down and taking another point of damage there, down to 5 hit points, and QXC will be forced to pull away with that one SCV down to 5 hit points, and now Idra will be able to get a hatchery. So nicely done there. We also see a spawning pool coming into play, so Idra opening up with a 14 spawning pool, followed by a 16 hatchery, or what appeared to be a 15 hatchery, as now this one SCV able to barely pull back here. We now see one drone trying to make its way, and with one Marine offering support, that drone does not stand a chance. Yeah, the drone deciding to pull back there, realizing that not much can happen. We do see one SCV here, and as this SCV gains sight, it does not look like it will try to place a bunker in this position here. Most likely a bunker would have been placed down if we had seen perhaps a tech lab and then a reactor. However, it is just going to be a straight factory now being trained up or trying to be built by this SCV. Will we see a reactor? QXC did use Hellions and reactors in order to put some early pressure onto Idra. Idra now currently only running off of one gas, not getting the metabolic boost yet, and maybe trying to go for a fast tier 2, not 100% sure. That gas was a little bit delayed in order to get this hatchery down. So this one hatchery down here will be completed in just a second, as SCVs now coming in from the north side of the ramp, and those Zerglings will try to peck away at that SCV down to 40 hit points and may be able to return home. We do see a couple Marines getting in position here, ready to receive that one very, very lonely SCV down to 35 hit points. It looks as though it will be able to make it back here, as we now have the factory and the barracks trying to swap places. So in comes this one SCV. Zerglings being very smart about this, deciding not to run up that ramp, realizing most likely there are going to be two Marines in position here to try to fend it off. And now, however, those two Zerglings may be able to make it up. No, not able to make it up there, as those Zerglings quickly getting denied by a supply depot. So nicely done. One Marine on this side, another Marine on this side, and now with two Hellions being trained up out of that reactor at the same time, it will be able to allow QXC to put down some early pressure. However, a supply depot currently supply locking QXC, now completed, as these Hellions make their way across the ramp. Most likely, yeah, a spine crawler already in position here. So with this spine crawler in position, and it will be able to root itself just in time as these Hellions try to get within range. No, will not be able to, and those Hellions may try to just drive up that ramp. Instead, there are going to be a few Zerglings on that top part of that ramp, so those Hellions will not be able to drive by and torch those Zerglings. So these Hellions just waiting together for two additional Hellions. So we will have 4 Hellions moving out together, and then only one spine crawler. The spine crawler was able to hit one of those Hellions. Hellion down to 65 hit points. The Impaler Tentacle dealing 25 damage even to light units and a full 30 damage against armor units. So that is a very, very very hard-hitting Impaler Tentacle right there. We do see that these Hellions trying to get within sight, realizing that there is still that one Spine Crawler there just within sight range. Just on the front of that, and we have another Queen down here. So with a Queen down here, these Hellions will not be able to drive down into this position without taking some sort of damage. And now this Queen doing a good job just trying to protect this front door. We do see one Banshee being trained up, however. With one Banshee being trained, I do not see any cloaking research being researched just quite yet, as we have the Hellions not trying to take down that back door. The back door will be very, very difficult to take down. As for Hellions trying to gather together and push out all at once. We do see one Queen here, one Creep Tumor, and now basically QXC unable to push anywhere. And with the way things are looking, QXC getting a Banshee, and now Idra going for a Spire. Things are not looking good for QXC. The next stage of the game should have QXC behind the 8 ball just a little bit, as he will not be able to produce the proper counter units. And I spoke too soon, as a Thor now being trained. So a Thor now being trained as well, in order to be able to train up more and more units. We also see another Barracks, as these Hellions just trying to put a lot of pressure continually. These Hellions doing a good job of just trying to get away from that splash damage. Back and forth these Hellions go. Will these Hellions be able to continue to splash more and more? These Hellions trying to pull back and forth and unable to attack that Creep Tumor. You got to remember that splash damage does hit these burrowed buildings even if you can't see them. So these Hellions deciding to finally pull back here, as QXC has established an expansion of his own. We do see the level 1 weapons upgrade, in addition to 4 Mutalisks now being trained by Idra. So Idra now getting 7 Mutalisks, and now 1 Banshee coming in along on this side. However, quickly getting picked off by one of those Queen. That Queen now down to 5, or sorry, that Banshee getting that, or that Queen getting that Banshee down to 5 hit points. And this Banshee only getting 3 kills so far will not be worth its weight in minerals, and unable to get that 4th kill there. So 150 minerals and 100 gas loss for just 150 minerals. Not an even trade by any means, as now we have Mutalisks in the air and Zerglings on the ground. The Zerglings looking to try to take down these rocks over here, as we have these Mutalisks moving out in order to put some pressure onto the base, trying to make sure that QXC has not expanded all across the map. We do have 2 missile turrets currently coming into play. We also have 2 more missile turrets coming into here, but they look like they're going to be about 30 seconds late, as those Javelin missiles able to get 1 round of splash attack onto those group of Mutalisks. And now we have 2 Thors walking very, very slowly, only a movement speed of 1.88, as those Hellions getting ahead of themselves, and now getting picked off and taking some damage from these Mutalisks that are in the air. So these Hellions need to stay close to these Thors in order to make sure that they do not take any additional damage and get picked off. Those Hellions are there to try to counteract any of those Zerglings that may want to try to swarm these Thors. We do see 1 Creep Tumor, which was trying to be built, will get taken down very quickly, and now we have a swarm of Zerglings on the low ground. Level 1 weapons upgrade, another Thor being trained, as more Mutalisks being trained as well. So we are going to hit about, what, 16 Mutalisks in just a moment. And with 16 Mutalisks in the air, those Mutalisks will be able to swarm in and perhaps try to use that magic box technique on top of all these Thors. We do have a couple of these Thors now trying to use the magic box technique, trying to deal more damage towards those Mutalisks. And we do see the Thors now trying to splash on top of those units once again, and now QXC taking a lot of damage. We do see a lot of Hellions just continuing to try to take down more and more of these units, and both sides taking a lot of casualties so far, and it looks as though Idra will be able to just barely win out on this fight with 3 Mutalisks, but both sides very, very much taking a lot of damage. 1,050 minerals for QXC. Idra now sitting at 675 with 6 Mutalisks and 3 Zerglings. So we have 1 Thor so far, 1 Raven, and a couple Marauders on the ground, and that is not going to be a very, very strong counter towards those Mutalisks. We do see that there was, I believe, an SCV here. That's the only thing that has no, that was a Marine. And now we have a couple more Mutalisks in the air, and now Banelings being morphed into play. So Banelings now being morphed into play will be a strong counter towards the number of Marines that QXC is currently trying to mass. These Marines, a strong counter and offering decent support whenever Idra tries to use that magic box technique. We also have 1 Raven now in the air, does not have enough energy just quite yet, and now these Mutalisks using that Glaive Worm splash damage, able to pick off some of these SCVs. As you can see, that damage now being chained across multiple units. 1 missile turret only with a range of 7, unable to shoot and deal any damage towards these units here, trying to attack 2 at a time, and now just constantly taking more and more damage, and the supply depot will get taken down with really no issue. So now perhaps another supply depot or another missile turret needs to be placed here in order to offer some protection against this Mutalisk harassment that's in the air. We do see 2 Thors now on the ground, couple Marines on the ground with 1 medevac and 1 Raven. So that Raven trying to get enough energy for that point defense drone does in fact have enough. However, with the movement upgrade coming in from those Banelings and more Banelings being morphed into play, it will be very difficult for QXC to do anything. QXC realizing most likely that his opponent is trying to take the gold mineral location and decides to try to clear out his own gold mineral expansion as well. We do see more medevacs now in the air, and now QXC making its way with this command center into this location here. We do have a couple of Marines and Marauders, however, going to get caught out of position as these Zerglings now trying to give chase. These Marines and Marauders move at a movement speed of 2.25, maybe able to move at 3.37 with stim pack. Yeah, so, but unable to do anything else beyond that. So those Zerglings always have a faster movement speed, even on or off creep. These Banelings as well do not have a faster movement speed. Oh, actually, I have a faster movement speed when they are being stimmed as well. So we still have more and more of these units in the air. 1 medevac down to 15 hit points, and that medevac has a lot of energy. Not quite sure what to do there. As these stores now walking around, no research on that 150mm strike or that 250mm strike cannon, as I do not expect that to be used. Another Raven now being trained. So it looks as though with 2 Ravens in the air, QXC trying to recreate what the magic that he did in last game with a couple of Thors. However, the Thors do not have any weapons upgrade. And we finally see a planetary fortress here being placed down, and now some missile turrets as well, and I believe a second command center and right here as well. So yeah, 2 additional command centers, as this place is very, very well fortified. No armor upgrade, however, for any of these missile turrets, as these units now just trying to be macroed up. 3,700 versus 3,450. Both sides with a decent size army. Income-wise, we see QXC definitely in the lead, sitting at 3,000 minerals a minute versus 2,000. QXC now trying to get ahead with those stores, perhaps trying to get some more splash damage in. However, without any weapons upgrade, those stores and those Marines will not be able to deal all that much damage. The Marines do have that level 1 weapons upgrade, but I believe the Mutalisks also have level 1 weapons upgrade. And do the Zerglings have? No, and the Zerglings have level 1 armor upgrades. So those Zerglings with armor upgrades will be able to push out as well. So we have more and more SCVs trying to be macroed into play. These SCVs are most likely on auto repair. No, not on auto repair. Now trying to move out and fortify this location here. So getting some bunkers and some turrets. Baneling, however, 1 Baneling rolling by, quickly getting sight of all of these buildings here as they're being placed down. And another hatchery coming into position here. We do see a group of Mutalisks, however, quickly getting splashed there. And now a lot of damage was dealt. Idra's army did take a little bit of a hit as 1 Marine trying to move out, going to sacrifice himself for the greater good, taking down one of those Banelings at the same time, and now more Zerglings trying to run head on into a group of Thor cannons. Not a smart move by any means. And now with bunkers, missile turrets, and a sensor tower in a very, very critical location, QXC will be able to see that there is an expansion here that he can try to pick off. Will he try to do anything over here? A quick scout sweep revealing that he will not get flanked if he tries to move out, and both sides trying to mine from essentially all of the mineral patches at the same time, down to essentially only 4 mineral patches here. So this place will be quickly mined out as another command center being lifted off into this location. Marines, and now a lot of fighting going on here. Point defense drones need to be dropped. These units do have a lot, and in comes out very nice another set of hunter seeker missiles, doing some damage towards those units and kicking down a lot of those units here. So all of those units are in the red and now continuing to try to push. We do see a lot of that pulling back here. Banelings unable to gain in on that fight, and now missile turrets also joining in as well. The Marines and Marauders jumping into those bunkers as a Thor now taking a lot of damage as well. Bunkers trying to splash themselves. However, Idra able to barrel through this location with mass Banelings and Mutalisks and Zerglings so far. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Idra and QXC here on Blistering Sands.